the Dolby Vision popping, I'm the colorist on top. Film density so heavy, it's like I'm never gonna drop. Grading scenes with precision, making colors vivid through the darkest corners. My art, you must admit it, no ordinary gangster. I'm a colorist on the streets, I mix the hues and shades, making visuals complete. From the darkest shadows to the brightest sunlit sky. Paint a masterpiece, that's what you can't deny. Ain't no match for my grading skills, I'm the champion. Like a visual illusion, I'll leave you in a trance, man. With magic on the screen, I create a sensation. The colors that I manifest, they cause a revelation. Step into my sweet jams where the magic happens. Balancing the tones, I control the captain's cabin. Highlights popping, mid-tones just right. Black so deep, they like the dead of night. I bend the gamma, curve the line. Craft every shot to look so fine. Rec 2020, wide gamut in play. Ace pipeline, set the visual array. Colors so real, they stretch beyond the norm. In Rec 709, I standardize the form. Log profiles give the latitude I need. Crafting colors like the visuals lead. Color wheel spinning, it's a visual feast. In the booth, I'm a beast. On the screen, a masterpiece. Contrast, high shadows deep. Got the look so sleek. Every frame, every scene, make the color speak.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Joe, aka Nomad. Welcome to another episode of Cult of Color. Got kind of a big one today. We'll get right off the hop. GoPro Hero 13 was announced, along with the GoPro Hero, a sort of mini-ish. It's lighter than the Mini 11. Hopefully, it's not shit. It is not the same camera as the Hero 13. We'll get into all that a little bit later. But super exciting. Daddy's already pre-ordered his. I'm just saying. So, super stoked about that. I think the big thing for me, Rec 2020 color space. So, super happy about that. Anyway, today we are going to be going over... we're going to be screwing around in Fusion. I am not a Fusion expert by any means. There's about 1,000 million billion people out on YouTube who are better at Fusion than I am. So I'm going to give you guys kind of a primer. We're gonna start with some basics like how Fusion works and things like that. But also we're gonna actually do something useful with it. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But first, we got some videos to go through. Let me get rid of that horse shit. I bet this is not going to open up in the right window again. Quick shout out to Barticus Bartman dude in the chat. What's up, dog? And anybody else who just working in Fusion got here, me waiting for the Action 5. So, hey, you know what, Lonely Artist? It's fine, dude. I have all three of the major cameras. I do have the Action 4. I have the fucking Ace Pro. So, but for me as a colorist, Rec 2020 is where it's at. We'll see what the Action 5 comes out with. I mean, they're all doing it, right? One camera maker did 10-bit, the rest of them did. One camera maker is doing Rec 2020, the rest of them are. Soon they're all going to be shooting RAW, and cinema cameras are going to be a waste of money at that point. So I think everybody's going to benefit from this kind of innovation. So just working in Fusion, it got here. Yeah. Well, I'll give my little spiel again. Not a Fusion expert. Real basic type of shit going on here. So this is just, it was asked. I've done some stuff in Fusion. We're going to do, I'm going to go over some of the basics of Fusion. Then we're going to get into an actual task and accomplish something. So let's do some videos. Let's see if this opens up in the right thing here. So, yes. First up, we got Koala Mr. Cole Anderson, with some DJI Mini 4 Pro footage. Hey, look at that. More Taiwan, awesome. Nice. Boy, the minis sure have come a long way. I had a Mini 2. Its camera was garbage. I was able to do, like, some decent shit with it, but it took a long time to figure it out. Someone's not shitting in Cinelike or I don't know. Does it do the actual DJI log profile, or is it the half-assed Cinelike shit? Blacks are a bit crushed. And that last shot, this shot's good. I like those transitions. Yeah, there's a big opportunity there to bring a lot of the texture out of the water, since you can see through it. Those shadows are a bit crushed there. I think he might have been prioritizing not blowing out the waves, even though he's still got some areas that are blown out, but I mean, you can't complain, it looks fucking fantastic. Ooh, nice little speed ramp at the end there, that was nice. Bird's coming for your drone. It's gonna get you. This is Koala, yes. And that's why he's called Koala, because his first name's Cole Anderson. Koala? It's Koala. Get it? Very nice, bud. Now we got another one. Oh, no. That's not a Mini 2. That was a Mini 4 Pro. So that's why I was asking if it had a log profile, like a Cinelike or an actual D-Log. No, that was a Mini 4 Pro. I had a Mini 2 that was shit. So very nicely done. We have another one from Cole, from Koala. Brighton, UK, day 2. This does not look like drone footage. So I imagine this is going to be beautiful. Shot with the Sony A7S3, if I recall. Let's have a look-see. Don't screw me, YouTube. Hey, Donnie, what's up, dog? Good to see ya. Donnie got a special avatar. And Bart, I'll show you what I can do with a Mini 2. I've got a good Mini 2 clip that's relatively short. I'll pull it up here in a little bit. Wow, that's fantastic. You gotta hand it to Sony's autofocus, man. It is brilliant. She is cute as a button, isn't she? The messy bun, I like it. That's a hell of a shot. Well done there. Looks like a pretty windy day there. Mr. Koala, is that your lady friend, your partner, your wife, girlfriend? There's just some lady you met who started hanging out with you. Oh yeah, Koala's legit, dude. He holds back on his drone footage a lot compared to his actual, like, cinematic work. Which is just a shame. Nice. Stalking her? Oh my god, dude. Leave her alone. Alright, let's pop some likes up in this bish. 25. Alright, cool deal. Okay, let's see. So we're talking a little bit of VFX today. And so I pulled, how many did I pull out of my little collection here? I pulled 3, all really short. Well, one of them's regular length, I guess, and the other 2 are pretty short. Where I did VFX. It's not all done in Fusion. I have other tools that I use for visual effects that I'm more capable with. But this will kind of give you an idea of what's possible with drone footage. Some of you guys might have seen this, some of you guys might not. Hey, Koala, what's up, dog? Hey, 6300, okay. Made it almost like it was a video game. You got like a little error sound if you went the wrong way. Oh, that's cool, Donnie. Hope you enjoy the mountains, man. You can start saying my track is skipping a little bit there. It's fine, though. It's good enough for Gamma work.
Mission accomplished.
Hooray! So that was tracked and modeled in Cinema 4D, rendered in Octane, and composited with Fusion. Probably my more advanced drone VFX thingy. This next one, you might have actually seen it on Ken Heron's crash compilations, where you know, he people send in their crashes. So this is a fake crash done with VFX and sound design. You are such a fucking dick tease. Shut on a Mini 2. Well, good job on a Mini 2, because as you probably know, the Mini 2 camera is absolute garbage. So, bravo there. This is one of my first compositing tests. This was with the Potato, the DJI FPV, the original one. This is right as I was starting out. Yep, real short. So most of those, the first and the last one, were done with solving for a camera track. So using the 2D image to like tracking dozens, if not hundreds of points throughout the footage to mathematically solve for the position of the camera. It's very processor intensive and error prone. It doesn't always work. I mean, the quality of the footage has to be pretty high. Well, not as high nowadays, but back then it had to be like to be perfect. So yeah, so short, sorry. Next up, we got Rob Groove flying the radar. I stole this from my subscriptions feed, so he doesn't know I'm playing in it. We'll make sure to give him some love. Dude, we're so high right now. I'm sensing some reframe and resolve. Maybe? No. Frame rate mismatch. And it's not your fault, it's mine. Don't screw me, YouTube. Yeah, Koala, your shit's legit, dude. Faux show. Yeah, I was happy to see you had 2 in the hopper for today's stream, so thank you for that. It's definitely a treat. This is... don't know. Rob lives in Greece, and I think that's a Greek flag. I could be wrong. So it might be someplace in Greece. Oh, that's you? Damn it, Rob. Are you sneaking up on me? Oh no, that's not Rob. You know, so many people got so many different accounts. Well, if you're in Greece and you don't recognize this, I don't know, man. I don't know if you can tell by my dumb American accent, but I'm an American. Rob always has the best tunes in his videos. It's a nice sunset. So, Lonely Artist, what brought you to the stream tonight? Or I guess like it's like the middle of the night where you are, isn't it? There's a decent amount of wind up there. It's odd, just a tractor there. And then Whatever that structure is. Oh damn, Koala, you're behind. But thank you. I was wondering why nobody had said anything about it.
Awesome. So,
Very cool, Rob. Thank you for letting me steal your video to submit it. Greetings from Cult Color. All right, what do we? Okay, so before we get into that, let me show you my Mini 2. My Mini 2 horseshit here. So this is taken with the Mini 2 way back in the day. Driving on my way back from Florida. Probably, it looks a lot better in HDR because I'm not streaming in HDR, so it doesn't look quite as dramatic as it for you guys as it does for me. This was before I ever got into FPV, so that's how old this is. I want to say this is like, I don't know, I can't even remember anymore. Hey Tony, what's up, dog? Glad you could make it in. No, I'm about to start this morning after this video, dude. Some real controversial shit happening in the FPV slash cinema slash action cam world. Okay, good enough. So last video, as I mentioned before, I could barely contain my excitement. I about literally shit an individually wrapped shit. Here comes Amazon. My dog's gonna lose his shit. Individually wrapped cream-filled Twinkie. The GoPro Hero 13 Black has been announced, and it's a powerhouse. It's pretty much what I thought it was going to be. It's what I thought the 12 should have been. HLG HDR, Rec 2020. Slightly improved sensor. I'm not sure if it's the exact same sensor. It might just be software improvements. Some of the cool features they've got, they have ND filters. You can use regular ND filters with it, but they have their own ND filters that the GoPro automatically detects which filters on there and adjusts accordingly, so you get the perfect motion blur. It's pretty awesome. Hold on, guys. Tomato, stop it. Tomato. Tomato. My dog hates Amazon, dude. Okay, we're good. Anyway, no, it's been, it's about a year. It's about a year cycle. So, the 12 came in around this time last year. I know because every time I go on my summer trip, I have a new GoPro with me. And I never skip a generation, so. So Koala, that's interesting you say that. There is the GoPro Hero. It is like a Hero Mini, but it's different from the 13. It doesn't have the same sensor, a lot of the same features, but it's 85 grams wet. So it has an integrated battery. It's with the little, it has detachable finger mount. So it's 85 grams, which is an improvement over the Hero 11 Mini. It's very small. I'm kind of impressed by it. We'll see what the image quality looks like. I have doubts about the image quality, but the Hero 13 looks fantastic. So let's take a look at the guy I love to hate, Fabrizi, with his now released Hero 13 Black demo video. Tony, yeah, I have the Insta360 Ace Pro. I have the DJI Action 4. I have the Insta360 X4. I have like 5 Hero 11s and like 5 Hero 10s and 3 Hero 12s, and I just got too many action cams, man. So let's check this out. This is really good. I watched it earlier today. Yeah.
Vanuatu, place Rumi. Island, belong to the 5 element. Air, ground, fire, water. More spirit belong Vanuatu.
Yo, Bart, it's possible, man. Might let go of some of my 10s and 11s. That dude almost got hit in the face with a drone. Well, that might be, I don't think I have any intact Hero 10s, Bart, so that might actually work out for you. They're functional, but the screens are all cracked.
One more?
So yeah, super stoked. I dug on the details. Actually has Rec 2020 color space, HLG HDR, which is good. That's kind of the standard nowadays for internet videos. It's really going to democratize HDR though, which is cool. I think more people might be flocking here to learn how to grade in HDR and deliver in HDR. So yeah, I hate Fabrizi. I think he's a fucking asshole because he's so good at what he does. And I'm jealous because he gets all the cool gear before I do. I already pre-ordered mine like a good boy. So, I mean, when is GoPro going to sponsor me, man? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't shill for anybody else, but come on, GoPro. I know you're watching. I know you're watching. I know you want a colorist to shill your shit for you. No 5.3K on the new Hero. Is 4K only. Yeah, I mean, Lonely Artist, for our purposes, at least for mine, I never use the GoPro in low light. So it's never been a hindrance. I think the low light king for me is the DJI Action 4. The Ace Pro gets pretty close, but it looks like effervescent shit stain. The thing that pisses me off about, like, I did a scathing review of the Ace Pro. The thing that pisses me off about it is no 10-bit, right? They're calling it a pro, right? No 10-bit color, no log, right? It's very basic. And also the camera is very fragile in comparison to the other two. So, I mean, I'm a GoPro fanboy through and through. I think the image quality is the best for my purposes. But if, like, we took the Action 4 with us on our trip and my wife kind of handheld it and walked around with it, and it turned out a pretty good B cam. I really don't have any complaints about it. Battery life's good, doesn't overheat. And Tony, you were saying you wanted something that doesn't overheat. I mean, I haven't, like, I'm not really a good, I'm not a good person to ask that because all of my cameras are doing 100 miles an hour. So, you know, I'm not the person to ask. Anyway, so did I forget anything? No, I didn't forget anything. Okay, let's get this shit out the way. So we're talking Fusion today. And Lonely Artist, I know you were saying you were working in Fusion. You're obviously here because it says Fusion in the title. Look, I'm just an asshole. I'm not a Fusion guy. So buyer beware. There's a million other people who are better at Fusion than me on the internet. I'm a colorist. I just fuck around in some Fusion. But we're going to go over some basics today. We got, of course, we're going to use drone footage. We got 2 clips here. We're going to play with both. Let's see. Want to do 82 first, right? Yep. So let me take this to a good little portion here. Dim that. Okay. And we'll take it right there. Now notice I have my drone footage is all, it's the original file off the GoPro. It hasn't been ran through GyroFlow. I mean, it has to create the GyroFlow project file. Yeah, Tony, it'll last 9 seconds in an oven, dude. It'll be fine. Any of the late model cameras will last the time you need in a race truck. Yeah, so untouched GoPro, GP log, static white balance. I think I've got it set to 5600 or 5500 or something. I can't remember. You guys have seen this video. We're just using it as an example. So I'll just pull this onto the timeline. Now, when you work with Fusion and you're going to add stuff, you got to address color slightly differently. We'll go over that when we actually go through the practical application, what we're going to do this clip. But we'll head over to the Fusion tab. And then you got a few things here that are different from the rest of the Resolve UI. You have the same idea. You have an input that comes into your work area, and then you have an output. You notice these little dots here. These coincide to these viewers here. So if I take my media out and turn on viewer 1 by hitting the 1 key, I get the same thing in both. You can't see 3 because that's my dedicated Resolve monitor. Typically 2 is enabled by default. You can even look at the input and kind of compare. So for instance, the easiest way for me to add something, you can do it 3 ways. You can right click anywhere, you go to add tool and search these fucking menus for whatever it is you want, right? You sometimes use a color corrector and it'll come out here on its own. You can right click on the wire itself between the nodes and do the same thing, and it will come in appropriately connected. So now it is in between media in and media out. So if I bump contrast, you can see now we're still seeing media in on the left side and we're seeing media out on the right side. Yeah, I'm getting there, dog. I'm getting there. I said there were 3 ways. I'm only talking about 2. Okay. The other way you can do it, if you have nothing selected, you can do shift and space and just type, which is cool. It'll come out by itself. And if you have a node selected, so this media in, and then I hit shift and space, it'll come out connected. Also, it will kind of keep the one you last selected, like whatever you typed in there, that will stay handy for you. So that is how that works. Let's do something real basic. We're just going to composite some text over this video, okay? So I'm going to just come up here on my toolbar and just drag this down, little text box, okay? And I'll go ahead and put this in my first viewer here. I add some text. This is text. Okay, we'll change the font to something annoying. Come on. Something annoying. There we go. Okay, make it big. Change the color. This sort of works the same way titling does in the edit page. Per shift and spave. Yeah, I really wanted to read that out loud. Okay, so now I got my text object. Well, how do I get in here? If I can't just like put it in line there, right? So everything, like, there's no, I'm trying to make this real for those folks who are so used to the Resolve nodes in the color page. There's no parallel node. There's no layer node. The way it works is you take the output, which is going to be a square. You take the output and add it to the output of the node you want to put it in front of, and it'll drop a merge node. Okay, so now we have the green is foreground, blue is a mask. Is it? Or is it? Yeah, it's mask. And then yellow is the background input, and then it will output automatically back out to media 1. Okay, so now we've composited text. And if we wanted to add another one, okay, so we'll just add another one here. Lol. Okay, we'll do the same thing. We'll just hook it on to the end here. Now I'm doing it the dirty way. So before Lonely Artist, before you start screaming at me for not using a multi-merge, settle down, okay? So these can be chained together as much as you want. You can also combine these here if you wanted to. So it can get real stupid real fast. My advice is get used to organizing your nodes as you work, because it can get pretty stupid. There are some fun little macros where you can organize your nodes. And I'll choose the grid, things of that nature. So we're going to do a number of things here. We're going to do a number of things here to this clip. What we want to do is we're going to want to paste some text on this rock face right here. And we want it to follow the contours of the rock and all that stuff. And it sounds really difficult, but nowadays it's not so difficult because we have the surface tracker, which can kind of determine what those variations in the surface are like based on how it moves. Now, we want to track before we stabilize. We are going to run gyroflow on this, but we're going to do it here in Fusion. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make this image easier for the surface tracker to see. So I'm just going to add a color corrector. And I'm just going to bump the contrast. Now, we're not concerned with how this is going to look just yet. Actually, you know what? I don't want to do that. So one of the things about compositing is, like you saw when I had the text up there, right? And it was red. Text. Okay. Like, that's way too saturated to be a part of this scene, to be realistic, right? So we can't log the text. So we're going to use the dlog LUT. Remember last week we talked about LUTs. We can use LUTs here in Fusion, and we're going to follow the same principle where we're going to use the dlog LUT and work underneath it. Okay, so here's what we're going to do, just for pickles here. Okay, so LUT file, then I have to find it. Things are a little bit more complex in Fusion. It is an entirely different development team that develops Fusion aside from Resolve. It just happens to be smashed in Resolve, but it's also a standalone app. Okay, now it looks like it mixes a little bit better. All right, so we'll just stick that over there, right? So now if we want to composite that to make it look a little bit better, we would do something like we'd put a color corrector on that. And pull the gain down a little bit. Pull the saturation down. Why is that having an effect on the entire? That shouldn't have an effect on the entire image. Oh, is it affecting the transparency? Boo! Yes, Tony, you are definitely on the right track, ahead of me, actually. So, yeah, I mean, there's a number of ways to do it, but you can fix the composite after tracking, or you can do everything underneath your technical grade, right? Your original corrections. It's not going to cooperate, so we're going to do it without that. So we'll just go back to, we'll put a corrector here just to make it easier for the tracker to see. Get rid of that merge node. Just bump some contrast, not too much. Okay, good enough. And I'll just toss that over there, kind of keep it out of the way. So I usually, in a case like this, I want to go as far, pretty far forward. We don't want the mesh track to go, pre-divide. Yeah. Well, too late for that now, isn't it? You want me to just give you control of my screen, Lonely Artist? You can teach this? Because like I said, man, I'm not the guy. I'm just a dude. People ask for it, so I'm doing it. So we're going to use what's called the surface tracker. And I will go to tracking and surface tracker. Surface tracker is really cool. It's actually relatively easy to use. So you just need to make sure that's highlighted, and we will set that as our second output. And essentially, you see, I don't know if you can tell my icon, my mouse icon is so damn small for you guys. I'm sorry. I actually lost, my little magnifier tool. So I'm just going to create an outline here by clicking points. You know, something rough, nothing special. And up here, and I will click mesh, and you get a basic mesh. So generally speaking, you want the points location to be automatic. It's going to try to adhere to the strongest features for tracking. This can be very slow depending upon the resolution. Now we are in the native 5.3K. Yes, contrast helps tracking. Can increase the point number for a more accurate track and more adhesion to the surface features. Increasing that point number and decreasing this point spacing gives you more information, but it will slow things down, especially in the native 5.3K. Also depends on how it moves, right? We're kind of cheating a little bit. Really, and realistically, like the proper way to do this would be a camera track. And then actually placing an object, but this actually works very well. I think this is new as of Resolve 17 or 18. I don't know, Lonely Artist, when did they come out with the Surface Tracker? Was that 17 or 18? So we're going to leave that at 50 is good. So if I go here, track, okay, it doesn't matter where you start the track from. Well, it does, because this is where I drew it from. So this is where I want to start my track from. Everything can be left as default unless you like really need a solid track. You can leave it on faster. And this is just for kind of tits and pickles. So I'm going to track forward and then reverse. And we'll see how this works while I'm streaming on this desktop. This can get pretty hairy, especially with the memory. So one of the things that I found to do, instead of having to track on a giant file like this, if the file's like, in this case, because there's so much like motion blur and vibration, I would want to track in full resolution this way, but you can actually use a Resize Node before the surface tracker to like pull it down to like 1080p. and then track on top of that. It's a little bit less intensive on your machine, less time intensive as well. So, I mean, like, this is pretty slow, but probably faster than I would have been used to previously. Everything has come a long way with Fusion. Yeah, everything's come a long way with Fusion, but Fusion is way slower than using the color page or effects on the edit page in general. The surface tracker being an exception, you can use a surface tracker on the color page. It is just as slow on the color page as it is here. La 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 la. So I don't know that we want to let this, I mean, it's kind of speeding up a little bit. 2.25 frames per second. So the general idea is we're going to use that surface to conform an image on top of that rock. And then as the footage moves, as that surface moves and distorts, the image will distort, hopefully accurately. Now, once you have the track done, Lonely Artist, have you used Fusion Standalone? Is Fusion Standalone any better than Fusion inside of Resolve? Once you have the track done, then like the track's saved. If you do anything before it, you're not going to destroy your track, which is great because tracking in the color page is, you screw with any of the nodes that come before the tracking node, and in 19 is better. Okay. Interesting. That's memory hungry, that's for sure. But it's still faster than doing a camera solve. So we'll go ahead and just stop it there. You can just kind of get the idea. So now I've got my out of video memory already. We got our mesh tracked on there. It's not teabag. We'll just pick our spot where we want to do the initial placement of our text. How do they relate to the timeline? So the nodes are a per frame process. So every frame of the video comes in that media in node and goes through all the other nodes that I configure, and then out the media out node, and then that's a rendered frame. So the nodes apply to the clip, period. In the case of the timeline here, I have one clip here, and it's a single Fusion composition. So if I chop this up a bunch, then I would have separate Fusion compositions I could do separate things to. Yes, Hater Productions. First off, welcome. And yes, all the lives are available after the broadcast. So don't put too much stock into it. Somebody's asking me to teach underwater basket weaving. It's not really my thing, but here we go. Yeah, so it's done on a per clip basis. And you can think of the node flow as a frame workflow. This is done every frame, and you can actually see it when things take a little bit of time. You can see it kind of, if I hit play, you'll see it flashing green a little bit. It's pretty quick, so it's hard to tell. But when one takes a long time, it'll turn red and then green when it's done. It'll move on to the next node and do that process, move on to the next node and do that process. Does that for every single frame. There are nodes that use a temporal component, like will do certain things on certain frames. A tracker is a really great example of that. And you can tell it's written information. It's cached information of this track. That's what the little white shmoo is there. So we'll come over here. Now the surface tracker has a number of extra nodes on it. So there's an occlusion mask, there's an effect mask, and there is an overlay or foreground. So we're going to utilize that foreground. We'll pull our text down again. And I'll hit 1, I'll put that in the first viewer so I can work on that real quick. Nomad was here. I'm going to change that font to something interesting. There we go. Make that a little bigger. Okay. And we can change it to, I don't know. So, sort of, Tony. You kind of want your base corrections to be done. What was that? Oh, cool. Thanks for the subscription, bro. Mocha Pro is pretty good. Last time I used it, I think was 2019. So it's probably come a long way. Whether or not to use that versus the native Fusion tools, I'm probably not the guy to ask. I used Mocha Pro for years to do compositing and tracking. It does have a really good tracker. I was able to get it to use it to stabilize some really shaky footage that was like out of focus, had tons of motion blur, and it was a really difficult shot. I couldn't get stabilized with anything else, and that was one thing that could do it. So I think if it were me, I would prefer Mocha Pro. I don't have it anymore. At least I don't think I do. I think I had a subscription to Boris FX. I'm not sure. Yeah. So anyway, back to the game. Yeah, appreciate that follow. Yeah. So now we have our text. We're going to drop it into our overlay input and go back to the surface tracker. So we can still see our text here. I'm going to take our surface tracker and pop it there. All right. So now that that's there, we want to kind of form this. We'll go to the results tab here inside the tool, and we'll do overlay placement. And now we want to set this to our current. So this is where we're going to place it. Everything else is relative to this. So once I set that, then I'm just going to kind of mush this a little bit here. Yeah, like that. Maybe let's fix that. Make it parallel a little bit. Okay, good enough. All right, so now that's set, right? I don't have to do anything else. If I move this, it moves with the mesh. And that's essentially it. So, but now obviously, like, if we get rid of our color corrector, well, that doesn't fit, does it? Hey, off axis. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. So that doesn't fit because our original footage is still in log, but we need that to be fucking D-log, right? Technically, everything should be linear. Like if you're doing VFX to do VFX, everything gets converted to linear, and that way it's a lot easier to go back to another gamma curve. But for the sake of this, we're gonna fudge it a little bit. So what I would probably do here is just add that fancy little LUT after this. So LUT. And I got to browse for it again. Oh, good. It came in the right place. Oh, right. As we're not looking at this. All right, so this is still a little bit too bright, so we need to now kind of make that fit our scene a bit. You, instead of using a LUT, you can also do it manually. So notice I put the LUT after the track because we want to do everything underneath the LUT. And we will follow this up right now it's still temporary. We're going to follow this up with some. Yeah, no, I'm going to choose a composite mode. Slow down, lonely artist. Okay. I'm not an expert, but I'm also not new. So yes, as he was saying, there are a number of drop downs here, and there are composite types, depending upon what you want to do. Lonely artist, what do you suggest? I usually do add, and then I drop the opacity down. Am I doing the awesome DR19 Studio update? Yeah, Hater, I was on all the betas, and I've enjoyed it. I think a lot of the new features are great. The speed is good. It's become a lot more memory hungry as far as VRAM's concerned. Like, you can't get away with like a 1080 Ti anymore, really, if you're going to do any kind of serious multi-layered grading with high res. I ran into some, I've got a 4090, and I ran into some pretty heavy limitations when I've gone a little bit too hard. So yeah, composite type in the tracker. I usually do add, and then yeah, lonely artist. I did this one earlier today. Add seems to work the best for this particular text. And I probably want to pump this up a little bit. Try soft light. Yeah, that looks a little bit more realistic. Don't want to go too heavy on the opacity. I think that's good. I will warn you though, Bartman, laptops have tremendous marketing wink. The laptop of the 4080 is essentially a 4070. Laptop of the 4090 is essentially a 4080 because of the thermal limitations. Yeah, Hater, I've noticed some long running bugs, especially with optical flow. If you speed warp on a speed ramped clip, I found I have to go to enhanced better first and then hit play for a couple of frames, and then I can go to speed warp. If I go to speed warp straight away, it maxes out the VRAM and crashes. It's happened that way since DaVinci Resolve 17, I think. I don't think it's fixed still. Yeah, it is a bit of a pain in the ass. So now we have a fancy little track, and we have adjusted it so that it falls underneath this LUT. Now, if we delete that LUT, now it still fits in our scene, and then we can go to color. So now we're on a color page. We just have our regular composite here. Obviously, I didn't track it all the way back, so it disappears for a little bit. We can just snip that real quick. Don't care about the audio, thanks. Oh, but wait, there's more. All right, Tony, have a good one, man. Thanks for stopping by. There's more. We want to stabilize this and actually like make it look halfway decent, right? So back to Fusion we go. We don't want to do the stabilization on the edit timeline. I mean, obviously, if it's better to track pre-stabilization, so that's why we don't just render out, you know, the stabilized version and track on that. Especially if you're going to do a camera solve, you don't want to do a camera solve on stabilized footage because it zooms in and out, and that really fucks it up. So it's just generally better. So I am going to select that. I'm going to search for gyro flow. And let's see if this doesn't crash. Okay, good. So I loaded the project file, and if you recall, when I did the gyro flow in Fusion little tutorial using the OFX plugin, no, I haven't. I've never used Fusion standalone. I don't do enough VFX to really warrant that. Not anymore, anyway. So you'll notice that my clip is stabilized, but it's still 8:7, and that's not optimal. So one other option we need to turn on the gyro flow node. If we go to settings, we want to use plugin ROD for output size, and that's going to make this look like shit. But if we go back here, then it is proper 16:9 as we set up in our gyro flow project. Oh, really? I did not know that, hater. I will try it. Yeah, saver and loader nodes do help. But yeah, I mean, Lonely Artist sounds like you need to do your own Fusion stream, dog. You know more about this shit than I do. I'm a color guy. So now we got our stabilization done. We're ready to do color. And while we did mess with the colors in Fusion so that we could get a good track and that we could match our composite with the rest of the scene, we still have perfect signal integrity because we haven't thrown away any data yet. So even from here, if I didn't want to use a LUT, I could do it my old-fashioned way and simply delog this myself. And I give it crush them blacks a little bit more, pop the gamma up. And then we'll make another node, hit our log wheels. We'll squeeze those highlights just a tiny bit. Another node. We'll do HSV saturation, color space, HSV, and channels. We want channel 2, so we're going to turn off channel 1, turn off channel 3, and then go back to our original primary wheels and turn the gain up till saturation gets to where it wants to be. You notice the composite is affected by the grade as well. It's now a part of the scene. I feel like this is kind of a mistake that a lot of new filmmakers make when they want to composite things like blood spatters or lightning bolts or gunshot flashes and things like that. Color information from the color page to the Fusion one without having to load up a lot. Yeah, there is. I mean, you have access to this in Fusion. It is a color corrector, right? So that's the exact same tool. You have all of the color effects stuff that you would find in the effects panel on the color page. You have curves, you have gain, you have matrix space. I mean, hue curves. You can use different color space transforms. It's not as intuitive as a color page. Like this shit, like this is what you get, right? And then you change here levels, right? Histogram, yeah, cool. Suppress, you can do a negative. So you have some control here. You can adjust your ranges. You can adjust the order in which it's processed. So you have some control in Fusion, but obviously it's not optimal. So I try not to do any color in Fusion. If I'm going to do a composite, I only use the color or any kind of modification to the original video to make tracking easier, and to match the composite to my original footage. So that's why I had that LUT, the D-log LUT up front here. So then I could use that to, like, now I know what the mountain is actually supposed to look like. And then I use a color corrector to make the text look like it's, but then when I get rid of the, yeah, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, so let's see, I didn't do anything. That's my HSV. Okay, good enough. And we'll do another one. Oh, one more thing I forgot to do. This is going to make everyone's life terrible. So back in that surface tracker, if you go under operation, so I'm shooting 24 frames per second with a 180-degree shutter. So there is motion blur in my footage. Now, relative to the mountainside, I'm not going that fast. You can kind of see some horizontal vibration happening up there. But there's zero motion blur on my composite. So we need to make sure we're matching that. Probably for me, the best way to do it would be to go to the last frame where there's bound to be the most motion blur. You can kind of see the blur on, kind of see the blur on the mountain there and how it's got a really sharp edge. So we could either do a motion blur, or we could even just do a soft Gaussian blur. But what I want to do is go to the surface tracker and we can soften it up a little bit. And then we'll add motion blur. Oh, it's going to do the alpha thing, isn't it? Oh, no, that's right. Okay. I stabilized in Fusion. I have done nothing on the edit page except put the clip down in there. So there's Gyroflow. Gyroflow is I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's used mostly for action cameras and cinema cameras with gyros that actually log the gyro data inside the files. It was originally kind of the open source project for GoPros, and it's just ballooned into this huge thing that supports hundreds of cameras at this point. Gyroflow gives you a lot more control over how the image is stabilized. You can add, your own calibrations for lenses and things of that nature. It's quite good. Definitely prefer it over, the vendors like the GoPro, Real Steady, or fucking whatever the hell, Free Steady, whatever the hell Insta360 calls it. Gyroflow for the win. Most definitely. And using the OFX plugin is super easy and allows you to maintain the maximum amount of data that you came in with your file, as opposed to having to render it out in a relatively lossless format like DNxHR or ProRes, or if you want to get stupid DPX or EXRs, if you want to get done with it. So it's just easier to take my original footage and just have these non-destructive modifications done to it, so that by the time I get to this point, I still have all of the same pixels I had when I started. They're just kind of mushed. Obviously, I discarded some in the corners because of the way it undistorts the image. So, drop that there. We're going to drop a sharp. And those of you that know me know this is a really half-assed grade. So, Hyder, yes, I do have some. I've done live stream of Gyroflow a couple times before. Oh my God, that looks like shit. And I have a dedicated video on Gyroflow, but I am happy to go over Gyroflow in depth next week. And we can definitely discuss it. Yeah, Hyder, Hater. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I'm guessing it's hater, like haters gonna hate, or yeah. I mean, I'm always bugging for new ideas, and I know in the last few weeks we've kind of brushed on Gyroflow a little bit, just some pro tips here, but it's been a while since we've gone in depth on it, especially given the OFX plugin is super stable and super useful now. The OFX plugin in Fusion is the only plugin that is just as fast in Fusion as is on the edit timeline. That's all I'm going to say. It is possible for something to be real time. Hey, Rick. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. So let's see here. Yeah, we just added a tiny little bit of sharpen in the Luma and Chroma channels. Yeah, Bart, if you're going to be serious about grading and editing, I really would recommend sticking with the desktop. Yeah, desktops, man. Laptops are, I mean, like I have DaVinci Resolve for my iPad, my M4 iPad, supposed to be the latest, greatest chip. It barely fucking runs, man. I mean, the iPad only has 8 gigs RAM, I think, so that's also kind of a problem. It does good enough. At least the color grading on the iPad is as you would expect. So I can do the same grade on the iPad that I can do on the desktop. And the iPad display is really good for color grading. Yeah, if you're going to go laptop, you want, I mean, a thin and light is not going to cut it because it's going to throw throttle the moment you open Resolve. Don't go for ARM. Not yet, anyway. ARM's getting good, but it's not there yet. Put a little bit of mid-tone detail. And then we're going to fuck with color density on our blues. Let's make sure. Is that all cyan? Is this being stupid again? Yes, it's being stupid again. Okay, fine, whatever. Add some saturation and density to the blues. And let's see. We'll crush the red a little bit and bring that out. There we go. You want all the watts, dude. Like, if you're doing this seriously, you don't care about your power bill. So that's essentially it. If I, let me cache this real quick here. We can play it back in real time and actually get we'll see if the track slipped at all. The one I did earlier today, I half-assed it a little bit and it slipped. It was good enough for government work, but I would have gotten screened at by a director or a VFX supervisor. Like I said, I'm not. I used to think myself a VFX artist, and then I saw what actual VFX artists can do, and then the software and the skills surpassed everything that I knew so fast that I was like, okay, never mind. Yeah, you want to be in Windows. The Mac hardware is just not there yet for working with heavy media. I know Mac fanboys would love to tell me how amazing Mac is. Tony's not here anymore, but I know he's a Mac fanboy. I'm an Apple mobile device fanboy. iPhone, iPad, AirPods, right? But when it comes to my desktop, it's always Windows. You can't use a big honking NVIDIA card on Mac. So have I reduced my cache time? How do you mean? Oh, I leave it at 5 seconds just because if I have a lot of heavy effects, it can max out the VRAM on my 4090 pretty quick. And then if I'm trying to do something else during that 1 second, I can end up crashing Resolve. So I prefer the 5 seconds. It doesn't take too long. I mean, also, like, I am streaming on this PC as well, including the little avatar effects. Yeah, I got a lot going on this computer right now. So I'm surprised it's handling it as well as it is. It didn't look like it slipped too bad. It's wiggly. The tracker doesn't know how to deal with these vibrations, so in a better shot that didn't have all this wind vibration, it would probably look a lot better. Certainly not terrible. Oh, well, just put the 4090 in the laptop, dude. I have a 7950X, gently overclocked, 192 gigs of DDR5. So it's decent, you know. I'm gonna wait to see if anyone's house burns down with the 9000 series, then I might upgrade to the 9950X. since it should be roughly a direct drop-in on my machine. Ah, Bart. That's great. So let's just review the Fusion tab again real quick here. So originally I added a corrector here so that the surface tracker could see the track better, right? And then we did this, we did the track. You can see the mesh here, right? We did the track. And remember, Fusion happens before color page. So all the color adjustments you saw me do on the color page, those haven't happened yet. The Lonely Artist, the vibration was, it's a rather large drone, and so it doesn't have the yaw resolution to be able to counter the strong winds that were happening around there. It's like out in the middle of the desert on a day where it's very hot in some places, but there's a storm out in the distance, so it's a ton of wind and some updrafts as I was approaching this. So there's a lot of vibration. I just can't tune it out that well unless I could hang out there for a week or something like that, and then I could tune out those vibrations. But there's just not enough yaw resolution in motors and props that big to make it perfectly stable. I think if I had a faster shutter speed, it wouldn't have been so much of an issue. So it was something I was fighting with the entire time. But actually, it's not technically a vibration; it's a wiggle. All the vibrations are gone. If you had a vibration, you would see things kind of wiggling like an S, because the GoPro does have a rolling shutter, even though it's a very fast readout time. Vibrations typically cause, we're in the frequency range that are multiples of the sensor scanning frequency. So you get this jello-y kind of wiggly thing, and that's not what we have here. It's just bip, 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 bip. It's just wind. Yes. Yeah. So we made. Uh-oh. SpaghettiOs. Okay, we're back. Something happened. Did I run out of VRAM again? Well, this isn't due to rolling shutter. This is due to my shutter speed. My shutter speed is 1/48th of a second, and that's enough to show lateral motion blur when wind blows the quad a little bit and it goes and corrects really quick to try and stay on course. That correction is causing that lateral motion blur. Vibration would be seen as waves. Let me check something here. Did I? Yeah, so this is the problem I'm dealing with here. 24 gigs of VRAM, and it's just maxed. And I almost lost the stream for a second there. So I know like Resolve will do what it can with what it has. So if I pop the 1080 Ti in this thing, I could probably still do this. But it's that shared GPU memory where it will spill some things into system RAM so the GPU and the processor both have access to it at the same time. System RAM is obviously way slower than GPU memory. So if anything goes in there, the whole process gets slowed down. Unless it's something that is specifically still in the dedicated GPU memory. What the shared memory is for is what's called zero copy transfer, which allows extracting a frame buffer direct from memory instead of having to have the GPU send it through the bus, through the CPU into RAM cache, and then the CPU grab it from RAM. It's a little bit faster. So that's primarily how Resolve does playing. Same with, I don't think it's not just the surface tracker. Like I've got Sharpen, and I've got fucking, what are you doing? Chroma Sharpen actually adds quite a bit. What else do I got? Fucking the filtering that the color slice tab uses for grabbing. See, like it's already fucked up now. That uses a ton. Ah, good God. Is it fucking dying on me? All right. Well, you get the idea. Da, 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 da. Is it gonna make me do it again? All right, fuck that. All right, are we good? Are we still have you? Haven't lost you yet? Yeah, I mean, it's H.265 source, and so it's not really using up that much memory, especially once it's been cached. That's the thing, it's already been cached, so it should be able to... Resolve has had a memory management issue on the GPU for years, and I've reported it, and I've like shown evidence of it. They're just not utilizing the memory management. They're not doing what's called garbage collection on the GPU. If you just let it sit for a while, eventually it will release some of the memory. But going back and forth between tabs, like I just did, and I had to go and kill it, it pissed it off pretty good. So I had to get rid of it. I have no idea if QSync helps. I know QSync, what is that? The hardware decoder encoder for H.265 to H.264. I don't know. I don't have any Intel APUs. So, you know, Pinky's out fancy over here with my bullshit. Anyway, fuck yeah, man. That's what I got for you guys. I hope you guys learned something, took something away from it. If you got more questions, ask Lonely Artist there. He will have better answers than I do. And I will let you know when I get my Hero 13. There's going to be reviews and... Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I mean, when you're talking to 4090, it's really inconsequential for H.265. Yeah, the stream will be available as soon as I stop, so you'll be able to go back and watch. Yeah, when you get to these GPU levels, it's inconsequential and doesn't really matter. So, but it would be nice to have like a dedicated hardware encoder decoder that's separate from my GPU, but that's not where the bottleneck is on Resolve, because like if I just do my normal color grading process, I can run 12K all day long or whatever. You know, I used to do 8K upres and then you know, grade on top of that on an 8K timeline, the export. It doesn't, you know, it's not H.265. It's something in their memory management. Hey, Flyzone, what's up, dude? You caught the end of the stream. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, next week we will go in depth with Gyroflow. And get your questions ready, man, because like I can't remember everything there is to know about Gyroflow. I do know quite a bit. Like, I'm not an expert with Fusion. I might not even be good with Fusion, but I am an expert at Gyroflow. So get your questions ready. I'm the lackey one with AMD. Yeah, okay. Yeah, anyway. So yeah. See you all. I'll see you guys next week. Let me turn the music back on and do this shit and then okay, bye. Well, that doesn't fucking help, does it? God damn it.